Are you tired of textbook English that sounds robotic? Ever feel lost when people casually say, pick up, run into, or hang out? These small phrases carry big meaning, and mastering them is a game changer. Welcome back to the Duodialogues, your podcast to smarter real-world English. Today, we'll break down the secret weapon of everyday conversations, phrasal verbs. Learn how to use them naturally so you sound fluent, relaxed, and truly confident. Let's begin.
Do you ever feel like your English sounds a bit too formal, maybe a little stiff, or even robotic?
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
And you wonder how native speakers sound so, well, relaxed and friendly.
It's a super common frustration, right? That gap between, textbook English and how people actually talk.
Absolutely. And looking at the source material for this deep dive, like this guide on mastering phrasal verbs,
Yeah.
it seems pretty clear that a big part of it, maybe the secret, boils down to these little combinations. Phrasal verbs.
Exactly. Phrasal verbs are key. They're not just grammar points you tick off a list. They're like the lifeblood of casual, natural English.
Okay, so our mission today is to really unpack why they're so powerful for sounding natural. And more importantly, how you can start using them more confidently. We're pulling insights straight from our sources here.
Well, the source makes a really strong case. It highlights how phrasal verbs just give your English this genuinely warm, friendly, informal tone.
And they're just everywhere, aren't they?
Totally everywhere. Movies, TV, podcasts like this one, daily chats. Using them properly, that's what shifts your English from just correct to genuinely conversational.
Right. They're like these little linguistic shortcuts. They convey ideas or actions with a natural flow. And what the source points out, which I find fascinating, is how often just, basic verbs combine with prepositions or adverbs.
And create completely new meanings, often idiomatic ones.
Exactly.
And understanding these combinations is, crucial. The source even gets into the difference between separable ones.
Oh, yeah, like pick her up.
Right, where the object can go in the middle, and then the inseparable ones where it can't, look after the kids. Knowing that distinction, which the source really hammers home for mastery, helps you avoid those slightly awkward mistakes.
Okay, let's dig into some specific examples then, because the source gives such great common ones.
Good idea.
These aren't obscure things. They're words you hear constantly. They'll immediately make your English sound more natural.
Okay, let's start with a really practical one. Pick up.
Right.
Beyond just lifting something, the source points to how we use it all the time for collecting someone. Could you pick me up from the station?
Yeah, it feels so much more natural than saying, could you collect me? Doesn't it?
Definitely. Or how about run into?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Literally bumping into something, maybe.
Sure, but the source shows its super frequent use, meaning to meet someone unexpectedly. Guess who I ran into yesterday?
Instantly paints a picture. And a classic for encouragement. Give up.
Simple words, give and up.
But together, totally different meaning. Don't give up. It's just much warmer than, do not cease your efforts.
Definitely. And for responsibilities, look after.
Oh, essential.
Yeah.
Especially with kids, pets, that sort of thing. My sister's looking after my cat.
The source notes it's pretty much the default natural way to say take care of in lots of situations.
Then there's turn down.
Like the volume. Well, yes, but the source reminds us how often it means to refuse something. An offer, an invitation.
Ah, right. She turned down the job offer.
Yeah.
Sounds decisive, natural.
Exactly. And the source highlights others you hear daily, like figure out for solving something.
Instead of just solve.
Yeah, or put off for delaying.
Instead of postpone.
And bring up for mentioning a topic. Using these just instantly shifts the tone, makes it more casual.
Right.
But what the source really drives home is that just knowing the meaning isn't quite enough.
You have to use them.
You have to see them in context, hear them, and then really practice using them yourself. That's where the actual mastery comes from.
Okay, so we've covered why phrasal verbs are so vital for sounding natural. And walked through some really common examples from the source material, seeing how they add that casual, friendly feel.
So the challenge the source puts forward is pretty practical.
Okay, what is it?
Take maybe 2 or 3 phrasal verbs you learned today, or maybe some new ones you noticed, and actively create sentences with them. Like, write them down. Say them out loud.
Yeah, both. And then try, consciously, to drop them into your conversations this week. That active practice makes all the difference.
So, thinking about all this, what does it really mean for you, listening right now?
Yeah.
Consider this. How could mastering even these, seemingly small word combinations fundamentally change things.
How so?
Not just how clear your English is, but maybe how authentically you connect with people, how you express your actual personality. It might be more powerful than you think.
That's a great point. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
And speaking of powerful expression, are you curious about how to maybe influence people, persuade them, captivate an audience?
Ooh, interesting.
In our next deep dive, we'll be breaking down the techniques of persuasive speaking.
We'll look at strategies effective communicators use to really make their ideas stick. So stay tuned for that one.